Okay, welcome to the first press day at the Paris Motor Show 2012. I'm joined by Car Magazine's George Cacker and Gavin Green, the naughty boy in the back. We've spent the first day at looking around all the new metal, and we're sitting here in a 1990 CSK Range Rover. The new one's just behind us. What do we make of the first day, George?
I keep repeating myself, there is no such thing as a boring motor show. Even if there wasn't decent product, there's always great people to talk to. And there's so much evolving behind the scene that I haven't had much chance to look at vehicles yet. But I do have a favourite, and I have a runner-up. And we have yet to see cars like the new McLaren.
That is true. The new McLaren is going to be unveiled behind us actually in about 15 minutes time, so if the flashbulbs go off, that's what that is. Gavin, what's caught your eye today?
Well, I think the two of the star production cars are clearly the two British cars. That's the F-Type Jaguar and the new Range Rover. The new Range Rover, as Tim said, is right behind us. And to have replacements for arguably the two most iconic British vehicles maybe of all time, the Range Rover and the E-Type Jaguar, at one motor show is quite astonishing. And just to sort of back that up, there's also a new version of the Mini, arguably the third great iconic British car, though it's the Paceman, so it's another iteration of the sort of mini hatchback. Add the McLaren, the successor to the McLaren F1, and it's four great British cars that we've essentially seen new versions of here today. So that's pretty special.
And it's interesting, but they are all very top-end. The British car industry has re-engineered itself. Very top-end, very expensive cars. And I've been very acutely aware today that the French industry is, obviously, you look at the front pages of the newspapers here, they're full of talk of the factory closures. I sat in a session with Sergio Marchionne, very glum for the people who are making the volume cars in Europe at the moment. What do you think about that, George?
It is a difficult situation for them, but it's just, it has two reasons. One is they have not invested enough in product, especially Fiat, but also to a lesser extent PSA and Renault. At Renault, it's the Dacia brand that makes the money, which is clever. Renaults are just middle of the road. Dacias are something special. So if you don't have that, and if you don't have a premium name you can command a little bit of extra money with, you're just stuck in no man's land, and the only selling tool you have are rebates.
I heard a stat today, 3 million sales have gone in Europe in the last 5 years. That's how much the market has contracted, and that's why something's going to have to give. Do you think we're going to see factory closures in the next 12 months?
Well, this was all quite predictable, wasn't it? Because Europe, as a market, just look at demographics, is not growing. It is shrinking, and the population is aging. And what do the car manufacturers do? They still invest in old-fashioned vehicle approaches, vehicle technology. It's still faster, more powerful, more equipment, instead of better visibility, higher seating and driving position, and we really haven't seen yet an affordable alternative drivetrain that can be used as a sole car, not as a supplementary vehicle, which again, of course, consumes traffic space, parking space. It's okay to have battery-powered vehicles out there, but they're always only second and third cars.
And they're usually used instead of going by train or the bus or the tube, so you sort of wonder what the benefit of the environmental benefit is sometimes. So I think that's right.
I mean, we've been seeing for some time at motor shows, haven't we, that just the conventional technology is getting so good now. The new Golf Blue Motion, 85 grams of CO2 per kilometre.
The problem is we don't have a united Europe. We have a Europe that wants its regional powers strengthened. So that's why there are no common rules, there are no common benefits, tax benefits, reliefs, there are no common cost patterns for fuel. I really think Europe is driving itself into a recession to a certain extent, and the motor industry is just reacting, instead of proactively foreseeing the change in demand and responding to that with a tweaked type of vehicle.
Gavin, what's which cars then have been a bit stand out today? If we're in this sort of quagmire, people doing a lot of the same things, who is bucking the trend? Who's producing
I think
clever stuff?
The people who are bucking the trend in sales are clearly people like BMW, Audi, and Jaguar Land Rover, who in Europe are actually the fastest growing car maker in the EU in the first 6 months of the year. Sales up 30-odd% in a market that's down 6, 7, 8%, whatever. But I think, the BMW, I thought the new Active Tourer they've got, which is showcases their new front-wheel drive architecture. I was very impressed with that. To me, it's a nice blend of usable, spacious, the touring bit of it, and yet there's a sporty element to it too. And I thought that was a really good mixture of these sports activity vehicles that we've seen quite a lot of recently, these crossovers. To me, that was one of the most impressive examples. Still a concept car, but I think you'll find that shape. George would know better than I, but I think that shape is pretty well production ready. So that vehicle impressed me as, slightly not brand new thinking. I haven't seen anything here that is absolutely radical, sadly, but to me that was quite a clever tweak of an existing formula.
And George, you said you've picked your sort of highlights of the show, the car that caught your eye the most, and which was that?
Yeah, but it's a highlight in a pragmatic way, and that is the Audi Crosslane Coupe concept, which previews the Q2. Now, why is that significant? Because it opens up a new family of cars for Audi. Q2 the first, Q4, Q6, Q8. Now, you may think too many Qs, and we haven't reached the end of the Q road yet, because there's even going to be a Quattro Coupe, which reinvents the original Quattro Coupe on a slightly elevated off-road, soft-roader type of basis. But these cars are, to an extent, responding to what I've said before. People want better visibility. People want a commanding driving position. People want flexibility to carry staff. But you don't get that in an SUV without the weight penalty and the fuel penalty, and as far as the older SUVs goes, the handling penalty. So I think that an intelligent crossover definitely is a way to go for the industry.
Have there been any sort of real tech breakthroughs for anyone here today? Have you seen anything that made you think that's really clever, that could be a game changer, or is it very much a refining of the petrol engine, hybrid this, hybrid that? Anything that's moved the game for you guys?
Well, absolutely. Premium three-cylinder engines. Three-cylinder engines are the future, especially in combination with an electric motor where you have the plug-in hybrid, which will be available across the board from the premium manufacturers in 2014. So the three-cylinder engine, the revival of the intelligent three-cylinder engine that can be MPI, that is indirect injection for low-cost countries, and yet can be single turbo, direct injection, variable intake for the high-end. Look at the BMW i8, where it has 231 horsepower, 1.5 litre three-cylinder. That's the scope.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible.
And it's worth mentioning, we have a three-cylinder EcoBoost engine in the Mondeo. Now, that's a hell of a big engine bay, and that's maybe a bit wasteful. It's a bit like a sort of tadpole swimming in an aquarium, but it's still the fact that I suspect that's going to be a good car. The Focus certainly is good with that three-cylinder engine. So that's a really capable, lightweight. To me, you look at that engine, it's a lovely little light, efficient engine, and there's a lot to be said for that.
So there's life in petrol and diesel yet. Now behind us we can hear that McLaren is about to be unveiled. Ironically, 2 years ago, on that very spot of turf is where Lotus announced their plans. 2 years on, obviously those dreams are shattered, and we're going to see what's going to happen to Lotus in the coming months. But for now, all that rest is to say thank you to George and Gavin, and you can read more from the Paris Motor Show on www.carmagazine.co.uk, and there'll be plenty more in the next issue of Car Magazine and our new Apple iPad app as well. Thank you.